What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Black Dream Podcast.
Yay.
This is, I guess, episode 3. I'm going to stop counting at some point because I'm going to forget. So welcome to another episode of our show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We're glad to have you in our YouTube channel, to our video, and to our podcast.
Yes.
Really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys again for tuning in and supporting us as we continue to share content with you all. And so today we're going to be talking about the second pillar, or the second pillar, because we already talked about one. And we talked about, in our last episode, we talked about wealth and how that's a pillar and how that's also important to building the Black dream.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about the second pillar. The second thing that we think is important in building the Black dream is community. And,
community.
Yeah. And then
whatever way it goes.
Within community, there's a lot of things. There's relationships, friendships, family, all that stuff. Community. Mm-hmm. And why it's so important to have community in your life and in trying to build the Black dream. So what are your initial thoughts when you hear the word community?
Community is everything.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? Community is everything. So there's a community here with you guys watching this. There's community that we were born into, like our family. There are friends that we met on the street. Mm-hmm. I do feel like community in general is, for every kind of subgroup of person, is essential. Like I feel like it is where we get our music from, our culture from, our stories, you know, all the little things and the tendencies we get from our family, I feel like is from our community. And our community makes us who we are. It builds us up. And so, you know, since community has given so much to us, I feel like we should give back to community. What about you?
I'm just going to read the definition.
Okay. That works too.
Community is. All right, so let's see. They got a couple of definitions here. We'll start with the first one.
Shout out again to dictionary.com.
Dictionary.com, where you want to learn stuff.
All your word needs. Yeah,
there's a lot of other, but dictionary.com is usually the quickest one to get to. All right, community is a noun. The plural of community is communities. All right, first definition: a social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality, share government, and often have a common cultural and historical heritage. Interesting. I don't think I've ever looked up the definition for community. 2, I'll just read all of them. This is just 6. So 2, a locality inhabited by such a group. Okay. 3, a social, religious, occupational, or other group sharing common characteristics or interests in perceiving itself as distinct in some respect from the larger society within which it exists. Okay. A group of associated nations sharing common interests or common heritage. Number 5, ecclesiastical. A group of men or women leading a common life according to a rule. 6, ecology. An assemblage of interacting populations occupying a given area. So
I feel like that last definition is like basic definition.
Yeah.
Occupying the same space.
Yeah. A group of people that are in the same area. Yeah. So I mean, I think, sure, I'm not going to disagree with the definitions from dictionary.com. But yeah, I mean, community is definitely important. I mean, when I think of community, I think one of the definitions talked about like a group of people outside of like that are common to one another, that are separate kind of from the rest of the world. So like you think about like a church community, you think about a school community, you think about your work community, like you said, your family, because even within your family, even if you're a part of a larger family, like if you go to a family reunion, your family, your immediate family is probably different from the other aspects, but it's still all one family, you know? Yes. So communities, and I think the first definition says of any size. So Fox and myself can be our own little community. You know, until, you know, God blesses us with children so that we can continue to grow our community. Yeah. You know? But yeah, community is definitely important. Like, I think relationships are important. We are relational beings, you know. We should be. Yeah. Relational creatures, we need it. Like, we need, you know, a child needs his mother and their father. Like, they need that. Like, I think God created us in that way that we have to be in community. We even see that in Scripture, that God is in community, you know, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's a community. So we reflect that in our existence. So, like, community is definitely important.
Yeah. And I also feel like, I think we touched on this in the previous video about wealth, but how community is something that is kind of taken for granted, I feel like, in the Western culture. Yeah. It's very individualistic. It's very, again, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. go hard or go home, go by yourself, that kind of thing. But if you look everywhere else in the world, they're all about community.
Yeah.
And one person's success is everybody's success. I think there is like even this feeling amongst like Black folk that when someone Black does something awesome, we're like, look at us, we on the mat, we all won. Like there is this inherent sense of community with one another, no matter their background, no matter, they could be from South Central LA and you from DC, and it's still that kinship is felt. And I feel like also sometimes it works against us, but that's a whole other conversation. But I do feel like community is essential to growth, essential to success. And one thing that we talk about here is like the Black dream as opposed to the American dream. I think the American dream is very individualistic, very put up your fences, you know, hide everything, hoard everything. When in reality, for Black folk, what has only really worked for us is being in community with one another. A cousin, again, we talk about wealth. A cousin might have a job, you might be out of a job, and they can call you up and be like, hey, got this job down at the mill. I don't know how many mills there are anymore, but it's an old example, but still. Someone pulling strings to get you in. You need that because of community. Community is wealth. Community is everything. And if you don't have community, then you're losing, you know? So.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Like the idea of community is taken for granted. I think it's interesting that with that idea, like I think throughout humanity, yes, we've all known community is important. Like the idea of you surviving alone isn't really, like this is very, very impractical and almost impossible, like for you to continue to live. Like it just doesn't happen. But the idea of community, I feel like is starting, it seems to me like more recently, like people are like, wow, maybe this Western culture of like pull yourself up by your own bootstrap,
which isn't real. But go ahead.
Like this individualistic mindset and you know, purview or whatever perception is failing. Like it doesn't work. It's not helpful. Like, and I think even within corporate America, that idea of like community is trying to be fostered and built up and cultivated more and more. At my previous place of employment, I remember going to a lot of sessions that are trying to figure out, okay, how can we, again, really foster community and so that our employees can be more engaged with the corporate vision of what's going on.
That's really backwards, but go ahead.
But it's just the idea of like, we want you to feel like part of our family so that we can all...
So you can work better.
So ultimately...
And make us more money.
That's ultimately what it is. Like, how can I make you feel better so you can work better? Because I need you to produce more.
Exactly.
But
that's not what that's about.
No, it's not. But that idea of like, how can we continue to... What can we do to make you feel like this is a second family for you? You know? And I think that idea has been present, you know, like especially if you have like unions and things like that, like there's some kind of bond or camaraderie together. But I think in a larger scale in Western thought, it's kind of seeing like, no, this isn't working. Like you can't just be by yourself, you know, like you have to be together. And like some people, especially in, I guess, entrepreneurial spaces, or like if you're an influencer or something like that, you're trying to find, again, I don't know if it's a PC term, but you're trying to find your tribe. Like you're trying to, it's not PC, but you're trying to find your people, you know. And even with that, you know, I feel like
it's non-PC for, but go ahead, go ahead.
But I mean, I sort of kind of push back against that because it's the idea of like you're trying to find your people, but I don't know, it still feels like you just want people to lift you up rather.
And
than
that's
like,
not like. I do feel like community does lift people up, but if you're just trying to form community for the sake of being lifted up, that's not community, that's minions. Those are people below you. And even when you were talking about your example at your job, it's how can you make me feel more of a family? This isn't my family. This is my job.
I want to go home.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? To my real family who loves me beyond what I can provide for them or how productive I can be for them. And I do feel like a lot of the Western ideas of community, again, I do feel like it's kind of resurrecting a little bit, especially because of the pandemic. Everybody's forced to be by themselves, and now people are longing for community and someplace to belong. And I do feel like people do collect under the same ideals and ideas. However, some of those ideals are not necessarily the greatest, and so you see the uprisings and things like that, and it's a mess. But on the other hand, I feel like for Black folk, I feel like there's a coming back to community. So we and our friends have been talking about we and our friends have been talking about communal living and this idea of literally getting land together and living together, as opposed to one person has to make all the money to get the land by themselves, to maintain it by themselves, to take care of their parents by themselves, when we could just build a community where we can live multi-generational. So we talked about this a little bit before in wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember growing up in my grandmother's house, my great-grandmother lived with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And when my uncle got sick, he moved in with my grandmother. So there was always multiple generations living there. Also, my uncle lived with his mom. So there was 3 generations living in one house. And the house was not big, but it was full of love and it was necessary. And there was kind of this known thing that you were going to take care of your people. It was never a question of, oh, am I going to put my mom in a nursing home?
Yeah.
Now, the caveat to that is if a person does need help, like maybe if they have some sort of illness or if they have Alzheimer's or something like that or dementia where they can't take care of themselves, okay, I understand that. Some people just need help.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a lot of older people are either kicked out of their house because they can no longer afford it on their pension or whatever else they're living off of. And instead of their children taking care of them, it's like, oh, no, mom, you got to go to a nursing home.
Yeah.
No other culture does that.
Yeah.
Like, there is not nursing homes aside from Western culture.
Yeah.
Everybody else is saying, oh, it's my duty to take care of my parents because they take care of me. It's not a question.
Yeah.
So even this idea of living together, we want to even bring our parents with us so that they can live on the land, that they can take care of us. They might be able to take care of our kids if they want to. It's not, they don't have to
We're
do
good.
it.
No. Go ahead.
They don't have to do it, but still having the option where if they were down to their last dollar living in a house and, you know, instead of you lived all these years and gave all this stuff and you're supposed to struggle the rest of your life, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
No, come live with me. It's fine. Or just being open to that idea, because I do believe that if adults want to be by themselves, let them be by themselves.
Yeah.
But I think this idea of community has been lost on a lot of people. And so these corporations where they don't take care of the elderly, they're not really, a lot of abuse happens. It's sad because a lot of them are looked at as money, as numbers, as opposed to as people. And nobody's going to look at these people as people more than their own kids or their own family.
Yeah.
So, or their own community.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think just that idea of like trying to better facilitate and maintain and foster community sometimes can be a challenge. Especially if you...
With people comes problems.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that can be very hard, you know, to be around people. Even if it's not all the time. Like, people, you can have your community at work just makes you uncomfortable. And it's like, you may like the job a lot, but like this person, people that you work with, or close with at your job, can just be like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And you know, like
cringe every time you come around, or tense up. Yeah,
but like understanding that there is value to community and trying to figure out how to foster that. Like, I think I don't have the specific statistic, and I think I only speak for myself as a male, and it may be true for adult women as well. But my understanding is, again, I don't have a statistical number, but for
English is hard. Okay.
For men as they get older, it becomes very difficult for them to create and maintain community, especially like newer. Like, so if you're not working with somebody and making friends with work buddies, or if you're not going to a church and you're just automatically part of the men's ministry or whatever, if you don't have those things there, like the idea of like actually going out and like, hey, you want to be my friend? Like, it's not going to happen.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. And I think my assumption, I'll say that, is that it's probably
cultural.
Easier for women to do that.
You think so? I think it's just harder later in life in general.
I won't disagree with that.
Yeah, I feel like if you belong to a community, it's easier to like latch up.
Yeah.
Or again, because of similar ideals, similar beliefs. If you're in church, you believe the same thing. You know, if you work at a job, you're all working towards one goal. Yeah. So like, it's easier to just chum up and be together.
Yeah.
But sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I do think what's great is that there are things now like Meetup or Facebook groups or just things online that you can do and find other people who like the same thing that you do, and you can build community in that way too. Yeah.
And the reason I say that, because like even the idea of like we're trying to express and share that community is very important into building your Black dream. So if you're trying to accomplish any dream, it's better for you to have people with you. Yeah. You know,
what is that proverb? It's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember I think it's like an
African proverb.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, I feel uncomfortable. Like when it's
just, it is.
I mean,
I don't know where it's from.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's African proverb, or there's Chinese proverbs. It's like
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay.
Well, China's a country. African's a continent. but I understand what you mean. Proverb. I know.
Yeah, but anyway, no. I think that proverb rings true, and especially with the idea of like trying to achieve your Black dream. You know, like you need people with you, whether it's your wife, your spouse, like, or your family or your
Yeah.
friends. Like, you need to be able to have that community to help you.
Even if it's just support.
Right,
like just
right,
supporting
exactly.
you.
To have the support, like even you as an artist trying to share and create your art, you need people to help you, like to like your stuff, to share it or whatever.
Because I don't like sharing my stuff.
Right,
It's scary.
right. Yeah,
But
and it's important.
Yeah.
But with that, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned like meetup and Facebook groups and stuff like that. But again, I think sometimes it can be very difficult for people to be like, I really need people.
Yeah.
You know, to.
It's been for so long a sign of weakness that you need people.
Yeah.
Like this, what has been cherished and what has been praised is this never having a need for other people, which is bizarre and crazy because that's not true. We all need people. I feel like people just need people. We need people. We are communal people. Yeah. And even if you don't like a whole lot of people, you need somebody. You need one person. You might have like 3 core friends you go talk to. It doesn't mean that you have to be super like a social butterfly. You can be yourself and still have 3 core people, but those 3 core people are everything to you. And the thing about being alone is that there are so many opportunities for you to self-implode. There are so many opportunities for you to be attacked. When you look at animals, I know that we're not animals, but let's just go here. Yeah. When you look at animals, they travel in packs. Why? Yeah. Because it's safer. Yeah. It's less likely that a predator is going to get all of them. It might get one, right? But it's not going to get, sadly. But it's not going to get all of them. Versus if an animal was out in the wild and you got 3 predators running after it, there's a less chance that this person is going to, or this animal is going to survive. In the same way, there are things that do attack us, even spiritually being alone, right? So being like, I suffer with depression. We both suffer with depression. When you're alone and you're depressed, it's really easy just to spiral. You need someone to like pull you out and be like, yo, I'm here. You do have worth. You do matter. Your life is worth living. Or if someone is starting a business, it's easier if somebody can do, the heavy work and somebody just has like the big picture. Like coming together in that way is really beneficial for all parties because they're working in their strengths, but they're all working towards one common goal. And I do believe that proverb is true, that when you work together, yes, it is harder. It does take longer. It's not as quick as you would like it to be. And I've been someone who hates group projects. I hate group projects because there's so much pressure to do well, and it's based off of everyone's well-being. And so it's very selfish of me to be like, girl, I'm here for me. This is my grade on the line.
I'm just trying to pass.
I'm trying to pass, so I'm willing to do everything for everybody. But what I should really do is be open to the fact that they might need my help. I might need their help. They have something important to add. I have something important to add, and we can come to a common goal instead of working for this thing individually. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think that even touches on the idea of like collaboration. Like, it's hard to collaborate when you don't have a community. And even with like collaboration, you give the example of like a group project. If we'll just use this, I don't know if this is exactly what happened in all of your group projects.
I'm scared.
But if you're in a group and let's say 4 because it's an easy number or whatever. So 3 other people are supposed to do their things, but you see that they're slacking and you have a deadline or whatever. Gosh. And so that one person is like, you know what, I'm just going to do everything. I'm going to do it by myself. And like get it done. And the teacher is like, okay, good job, blah, 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 and they give you like, I don't know, B or whatever. Because you pass and maybe the teacher realizes it was one person who did all the work. So, the overall purpose of the goal wasn't accomplished. But, if people effectively collaborate together, you're able to produce amazing things. If like everybody shares what value they have to bring to the table, it elevates everything. And so like the idea of collaboration, it shouldn't be unequal. Everybody should be able to lift up together, and should.
Yes.
And in that way, and even if that's the case, like say somebody
doesn't pull their weight,
pull their weight, but if you're in a collaborative space and in a beneficial kind of like thriving community, say somebody is struggling in an area. If you're a community together, you should be able to like, all right, here, I can help you with this so that you can get better, so that we can ultimately rise together, And that's important because, again, like, how are you going to collaborate? How are you going to make amazing things? Like, all of the things that we enjoy, whether it's movies, music, anything, like, there's a lot of people working together to create this thing. Yes. Like, it sucks because in our culture, we like to give homage or praise to like one person. Like they end up becoming the face of this. Like this is the thing. So like you have your movie or whatever, and it's like the director. There's tons of people working on a project,
holding the sound.
Right, like somebody's doing something.
Wiping the face
exactly.
down.
Somebody bringing the food so the actors can eat.
Yeah, all that matters.
Yeah, all of that matters. And one person shouldn't just get the praise. Like it's the whole community. It's the whole production. And we need that so that we can accomplish, our Black dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do want to acknowledge the fact that it is hard to do something collaboratively with someone.
Yeah.
But it is better. You're less burnt out. You're less stressed. And also understand you don't know everything.
Right.
Don't discount other people because they don't have the same experience, the same experience as you. They can still offer you wisdom and ideas that you might be blind to.
Yeah.
That somebody else can show you your blind spots.
Yeah.
I think about mirrors. There's not just one mirror in a car.
Yeah.
You'd be in an accident. Like you need the side view mirrors, you need the rear view mirror. Mm-hmm. And some people have the fancy little camera on the back of their car. Whatever. For the example, you need multiple parts to make that thing work. Yeah. And just like how scripture talks about, there's multiple body parts, one body.
Yeah.
So if we're on the same mission, fingernails are still important. If you didn't have fingernails, your fingers would be busted, bruised. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to open annoying, caps or, what's it called? Packages, that kind of stuff. You need your nails, but it's something we take for granted. We take for granted because they're just always here. Yeah. So am I going to say my nails aren't as important as the hair on my head or as the skin that I have? Yeah. I mean, we'll see. But I mean, the idea is still the same. It's that there's multiple parts of the body, but they're all important and they all work together for good. Yeah. And I feel like it's the same thing for people, for community.
Yeah, no, I agree. Real quick, let us know. We're going to stop the video real quick. Just let us know in the comments what you think of community. Why is community important to you?
And again, how do you nurture community in your own life?
How do you facilitate, nurture? I said the same thing again.
It's okay.
But anyways, how do you facilitate and nurture community in your own lives?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, like community, clearly,
can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure.
And if you're not, what is the struggle you're facing?
Right.
Starting or joining community? Is the fear? Is it like, oh, they're going to reject me?
Yeah.
Or is it like, I'm not going to like these people?
Yeah.
Like, what is your fear around building community or joining community?
Yeah, I mean, I can say
I have fears.
I would say I have fears too. Like the idea of like venturing out into something new and to be around people.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to go past like the people that you're already comfortable with, people who already know all of your quirks and different aspects of yourself, but to go out and try to make new friends, like, oh man,
it's vulnerable.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to get judged, and I don't want to get rejected, and I think it's different, especially the older that you get, because as a kid, it sucks. It sucks to be rejected, to be isolated.
But you're so much more resilient back then.
Yeah.
Everybody's my friend.
Right, yeah, and so like you can continue to grow from that, but like as you become an adult, like all of the energy and all the stuff that goes into it, like I feel like it's a deeper blow sometimes, like, depending on the person. Some people are just good at like rolling with the punches or whatever. I'm not. Yeah, but no, like I think to some degree I have that fear too of like continue, even like with voiceover, like I'm trying to grow in my voiceover business and my voiceover career, but I know to do that effectively, I need to relate to other people who are voice actors, to other people who are farther along than I am, or a couple of steps behind me. Like that community, if we're working together, we're all going to try to succeed. Which is one thing I do appreciate about like the voice acting community. Everybody that I've experienced and that I've heard or whatever, everybody wants to win. Like, how can we all help each other win? It's not like somebody's trying to sabotage somebody else. It's like, no, this is something that we're passionate about, something that we enjoy, and we want to help other people who are interested in it and passionate about it. And so, like, what can we do so that we can all, all thrive? And I think that's great.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of my things I was going to talk about, like the negative sides to community or the negative sides of bad community.
Okay.
People talk about crabs in a barrel complex, like competition and like. There can only be one. I feel like in a good community, you should never feel like you're in competition with somebody. Even if this person is doing better than you, they should be able to be like, hey, you can come up here with me. Like, there's enough space for all of us because essentially there is enough space for all of us. Yeah. It's just this westernized thinking that makes us think there can only be one. That is not true. Even if they tell you that there's only one space, there's a way that you can do the thing and I can do the thing and we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it in our own way because we're our own people, right? I'm not biting off of you. You're not biting off of me. But why should I not do my thing because you're already doing it when it's beneficial to the culture at large? Yeah. Why wouldn't we need more doctors? Why wouldn't we need more dentists? Mm-hmm. So why is it any different with anything else? Yes, more lawyers, please. Yeah. Yes, more freedom fighters, please. Yeah. More gardeners, please. Yeah. More vloggers, please. Like even with the Black RVer thing, it makes my heart happy that I'm seeing more and more Black people getting out there and adventure. Yes. Yeah. And so for a lot of people, it's like, oh, do you feel like you're in competition? It's like, no. Why?
Yeah.
You know why? Yeah. And of course those feelings kind of want to creep in. They want to be like, oh, this person has more views than me. And it's like, that's so silly and stupid. Yeah. We're winning. And it's that collective community thing again. Like, yes, black people on the map. Let's do it, you know? Yeah. And it's okay. Like, there's enough room for all of us.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think that comes from that scarcity mindset of like, we're going to run out of resources. And that's not necessarily true.
We are our resources.
Yeah, we're exactly. Good. Like, there's tons.
And God is our resource.
Right. There's tons of people out there. Because they even, like, so even with that idea of, like, scarce.
It's a party.
It's a party.
Every weekend.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway.
They have a good community. I'm going to leave this. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyways. So we, dang, what was I talking about? Okay, yeah, so the idea of, like, scarcity and stuff like that, that is something that is definitely pushed, and I would say probably, like you said, Western and maybe very capitalistic kind of mindset. Yes. It's like, how can I gather up as much toys as possible? Yeah. But again, like, if we're all winning, if, you know, all the water is rising for all of us, then what's the problem?
What's the issue?
You know?
We all win. And it's for the greater community. That's the thing. It's not just for self. It's not just for my wealth or my well-being. It's for everyone's well-being. And that's how we have to change our mentality. Yeah. If it's for the greater good, why not do the thing? Right. Why can't this person do it and me do it at the same time without me feeling threatened? Why do I have to sabotage them? Yeah. What's that about? Yeah. And again, it is about scarcity mindset. Because it's this false reality. Even this idea, I'm going to say this real quick. They're like, oh, within the next few years, there's going to be a surplus of billion of people on the earth. How are we ever going to feed these people? There is not a shortage of food on the planet. What there is a shortage of is people being generous and giving their food to other people in other nations. There's enough resources here to sustain all of us, but yet there are only a few people hoarding all the resources, and there it makes it seem like there aren't enough resources for everybody. And I feel like for people who have been disenfranchised, it makes sense why they think there's not enough resources because they haven't been resources given to them. But once we step outside of that mindset, we realize, oh, they're just playing us against. They're pitting us against each other. There's enough time. There's enough room for both of us to win, and we also don't have the room to compete with each other. We're trying to bring all of our people up together. So no,
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Just very passionate about that.
Yeah, no, that's important though. Yeah. So I mean, again, a pillar for us and the Black Dream podcast and for everything that we're doing is community. Because community is important. Like you mentioned, like you can have good community and you can have bad community, and so we think it's important that you have good community. And so that's something else that we're going to be sharing on the podcast and with the rest of our content. So thank you again. Unless there was something else that you wanted to.
I love you guys. Yay.
Thank you for being our community.
Yes,
again, we
for
really
real.
appreciate it for all the listeners and those who, I guess, viewers, those who watch on YouTube and those who listen to our podcast. We really, really, really appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you're listening on your favorite podcasting service, please try, if you can, go ahead and leave us a review
and
on
we'll read
iTunes.
It here.
Yeah, and we'll read it. Yeah, that'll be great. We can read your review on iTunes. So, if you feel like it, go ahead and give that 5 stars. Go ahead and hit the 5 stars.
Say,
5 stars. 5 stars.
Or send us an email. That'd be cool too.
Send us an email to, you can send us an email at foxandmiles@gmail.com.
Yes.
But yes, thank you again for tuning into another episode of the Black Dream podcast. We really appreciate you guys. Be safe out there.
Yes,
Much love. And until next time, see ya.
Bye.